So Saran, tell us about the journey of HouseJoy.
Yeah, so this started in August of 2014, and the biggest problem that the team saw was there were three large problems. One was availability of service providers, meaning you don't get them when you need them. Second thing was the reliability of them, meaning do they show up on time, do they do the job at an acceptable level of predictability. And then the third thing obviously is the actual quality of service. And we were missing on all three in the market back then. The second piece is that the supply is highly disorganized, right? It's not trained, it's not skilled, it's not professional enough. So, and it seemed like both from a consumer standpoint, the demand was there, availability, the reliability and the quality was, the consumers wanted it, but they didn't have it, other than a few here and there. At scale, nobody had it. Sure. And then on the supply side, the market is completely fragmented and it's completely disorganized. So given this, we felt that there was a large problem to go after, especially given that the rough math we did was there's at least 10 to 15 million households that have a need today in India, today as we speak. Okay. And each of these households would spend anywhere between 6 and 10,000 rupees a year. On any of these household services type work, which they're spending through their network, through some kind of a local guy, whatever, right? So this market is just from that math, it's anywhere 10 billion plus. So the market is large, the problem is acute, and that was the genesis of this company, meaning going after a problem where the problem space itself is large. And that's how they started. They started in looking at plumbing, electrical, carpentry, and all of that. And then you soon realize that you wanted high frequency services because you have to be relevant to the household. That's when beauty started. Beauty in itself is a large category. It's $1 billion plus category. And they started in a marketplace model, but then they quickly realized that for you to deliver the right quality of service, so the unique proposition that this company was built on was that beauticians were actually hired on the payroll, and they still continue to be. So we are actually building up that supply in the market ourselves. We are creating that market. Beauty at home was an alien concept before HouseJoy. Nobody did it. So HouseJoy started it. They were the first in the market in India to even start that, beauty at home. Now a lot of players are doing it, right? But clearly have a leg up in terms of being, and the learnings that comes with it, right? Like how do you actually offer high quality beauty services at home? Then in addition to all of the plumbing, electrical, carpentry, appliance services, which were another big one. But again, these are fairly low from a frequency standpoint. Because these are problems that when the need arises is when they take it, versus there are categories which are more impulse, meaning laundry, the need is much, much more frequent. Fitness is again something where you have to be sold on that fitness, right? It can be an impulse. Yeah. Beauty, same thing, right? There is a need plus it can be an impulse. So we wanted to get that good portfolio mix in our offering.
And now you see that there's a whole lot of players in the market. We have Snapdeal coming into the picture. We have the legacy players like Just Dial, Sulekha, Quikr coming into the foray. How do you think the competition is going to shape up now?
No, so again, I think everybody is seeing the opportunity. That's why they're jumping onto this. They see this as a pure household need. And companies like Snapdeal probably looking at it and saying, okay, I want to be more relevant to the household than just the products that they buy. I want to be relevant to them from the services standpoint. Quikr obviously seeing this and saying, okay, fine, there's a bunch of things I offer, I want to offer these services. Plus you have the legacy players like Just Dial and Sulekha. The way I see this, amongst all of these players, right, there is a certain new way to solve this problem. Okay. If you're taking the same old mentality and trying to solve this by just organizing and just trying to order some kind of a fulfillment experience, won't work. This is a new age way. There is a new age way because you are actually you have to rebuild this or you have to build this. Okay. There's no precedence. If you're saying that what has been happening is the same way this will go, it won't happen, right? So the player that will emerge and do well amongst all of these players is the player that is trying to solve this problem uniquely and trying to solve this problem in a way which is relevant today, not what it was 4 or 5 years back. The risk I see with some of the players is because there's a lot of legacy in there and they're going to fall back on that legacy. If that happens, then I'm not sure if that's the right answer.
So how do you think HouseJoy is solving that problem?
No, HouseJoy is solving that problem primarily because, see, look at, I'm going to give an example, right? The way we solved this problem was actually beauty at home, didn't exist. We created that concept. Laundry, we made an acquisition. So we brought in people who understand that space, who understand the operations of it, so that we can actually offer a high quality experience. We just not going to say we offer laundry and just forget about it. The point here is we offer laundry and we offer a high quality experience. right? Which is the differentiation of House Chai. Or we offer, so we're going to announce a few more acquisitions as well, like in some of the other verticals. The point of that is that we're bringing in people who can bring in the category depth. We are not saying we are horizontal and so we are just going to be a scale game, right? We are saying, okay, even in that horizontal marketplace, there are verticals on which we will go deep. We have already gone deep in beauty. We're going to go deep in laundry. We're going to go deep in a few other categories, meaning we're going to offer a higher quality experience to the customer compared to anybody else.
And also you're going to put them on payroll, because I think in the beauty services, those people...
No, we may not necessarily put them on the payroll, but
Okay.
we look at other interesting business models.
Okay. And how do you trying to cope up the unit economics challenge?
So the unit economics, again, I mean, say for instance, beauty, it's a pure function of utilization. So, so we're going to solve the utilization problem. And again, we were in this panel, we were talking about hyperlocal, right? The point here is that, this is a match of hyperlocal supply and demand. So meaning you first build up the supply hyperlocally, meaning you say Gurgaon, and that too in Gurgaon, you can say in 3 zones in Gurgaon, I'm going to build up supply in a certain zone. And then you start focusing on building demand in that zone, right? So once that demand builds up, then the supply is utilized well, right? But then your demand generation strategy has to be in hand with your supply strategy. You can't say that I have supply all over Delhi, but you're getting demand only from South Delhi.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen, right? So the demand supply problem has to be looked at together. So which is something we're looking at very, very closely and saying that, okay, fine, if we don't have supply in a certain zone, we'll say, you know what, we'll not even focus on generating demand on that zone.
Okay.
Till I figure out a supply situation there. Or, I may have a lot of demand from a certain zone that I'm already seeing that is coming organically to me. Then I'll say, you know what, just double down and put supply there. That doesn't matter. We have to, because we are seeing a lot of demand from there. It's a combination. But if I can't build supply there, then I will not service that. Like today, you have product commerce companies also that don't service certain locations, right? It's a choice.
Yeah.
So we'll not service certain locations if we don't have the right quality of supply there.
And what do you think would be the metric to judge the winner in this segment? Is it the gross sale value or the number of transactions?
No, see, again, this is a long-term game. So in the short term, there could be players who would say, I'm doing 50,000, I'm doing 10,000, I'm doing 5,000. Honestly, that doesn't mean anything to me. As I said, before that, the winner in this space is ultimately the company that has that, because this is service. This is actually inside somebody's home.
Yeah.
And you're actually spending anywhere between 1 and 3 hours inside somebody's home. In some cases, a whole day. It is very different from delivering a product to somebody's house, right?
Sure.
So I don't think scale matters here.
Okay.
In this business. It matters, but you can't be saying, you know what, I'm just going to push on the pedal and just, if you've not really, because for the amount of time you're spending in somebody's house, people are going to judge you. And they're going to judge you in different ways, right? A customer is going to judge you and say, what does this guy look like? What is his clothes? How is he doing the job? All of how does he talk? All of those things, right? And those can go against you.
Yeah.
As you're scaling up, right? So I personally think that in this game, it's all about supply and quality of supply and quality of the service. If that is sorted and if that foundation is well built, then you can push on the demand anytime you want. So so the winner in this space, I would say first, who offers the best and the most reliable quality of service
Okay.
amongst all these players. Meaning of the 10 times I booked with them, I had a great experience 9 times. Versus I booked 10 times, I had like a great experience 2 times, rest 8 times, I was like all over the place. So how can you judge? He may have 50,000 transactions on his platform, but if it is that kind of shitty transactions, right? I mean, you will not get repeat businesses. That means you're going to burn a lot more to get customers. Versus a business that may not have that many transactions, but have fewer transactions and also burning a lot lesser to get those transactions that they're getting is much more sustainable, much more profitable. Meaning, over 5 years, if I look, some business could be strong, solid, building $1 billion business. Somebody could have in 5 years built a $5 billion business, but that could be all shitty. This is like very shaky foundation. Because at scale, changing quality is very hard. Everybody's nascent right now, right?
Sure.
So right now, changing quality, putting the foundation in place is easier. You suddenly hit a certain scale and then you try to shape up the supply, right? It's very hard, I feel.
Also, what we see is the type of jobs that are in these services. The nature and pricing is very different. Suppose we take handyman jobs. These are low ticket jobs where the frequency is high, but then we have a high ticket job where the frequency is low. So how do you make sure the mix and match is the best to make sure that you get your own profitability there?
So same thing, we look at it as a portfolio, right? So meaning beauty profitability is much easier for us. So the unit economics actually works out if you can solve the utilization problem. Fitness, highly profitable. I mean, because it's a very, very high ticket size, high GMV, right? So we're going to put in a lot of these high GMV, high gross margin type businesses. Some are going to be extremely frequent, some may not be as frequent, but they're still high gross margin. And then you have which are low frequency but still high gross margin, right? Or good margins. And then the ones I like are laundry, which is high frequency, and my hunch is that we'll probably able to run laundry at least at a break even.
Unit economics is
hard.
specifically
It's extremely hard in laundry. It's hard. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because there is a logistics component in there, and the ticket size is small, right?
Yeah.
So when the ticket size is small and when there is a logistics component, it becomes it's like all the food delivery companies, right? I mean, there's no margin there.
But then why the investment into this space then?
That's why the investment cannot happen. At least in this case, you will not see a lot of investments happening just in laundry.
Okay.
It can't happen. But in a horizontal marketplace where laundry is a portfolio or a category, then I can run that category break even. But my CAC is low, and I can use upsell, cross-sell to sell that customer into other categories.
Okay.
It's like, I get somebody in laundry for $50 versus I get somebody in beauty for $600.
Yeah.
What would I do? I would get in 50 and then immediately cross-sell. For me to then it's almost like I'm advertising beauty to him for free.
Okay.
Versus I'm advertising beauty to him on some other online channel for $600. Which one would I choose?
Yeah.
Right? So it's all strategy.
And who is your target customer? Because the pricing, again, I said.
So target customers depend by category.
Okay.
So across all of the categories, HouseJoy, there is a large group which is sort of women 35 to 45, I would say, who are the chief household officers, right? And then there is this young professional segment. The working segment don't have time, seeking all of this convenience. So there's a young professional and then the chief household officer, I would say right now. There's a third segment which will emerge, which is sort of this slightly more slightly older, like about a 50 plus.
Okay.
That is also looking for these services and they don't know. They're all based on referrals that they call people that live in these large independent houses. So that market I don't think will be big. For me, it's the chief household officer and the young professional.
What do you think? Why would I get a plumber for $200 or $250 when I can get that same guy?
It depends on the job here. Depends on the job. See, we've done a lot of customer polling.
Okay.
Now, if you have a small menial job here, yeah, see, the $50 that you're paying also is for to bloody bang in a nail, right?
Sure.
For that, I don't think you'll ever call HouseJoy, honestly. But what happens is you have that mid-level type of jobs, right? My tap isn't working, or my geyser is conked off, or my the toilet bowl the flush doesn't work, or whatever, right? The shower head doesn't work, or the water is not flowing well. Now the problem is that guy may not be available when you need him because you need it now. Now we can guarantee you a plumber in 2 hours, right? Minimum.
Yeah.
So one is that availability, right? I talked about.
Yeah.
And for that, paying 200 is okay, right? Because I think that guy anyways would pay 100, 150, and there's no guarantee that thing will actually get fixed. Meaning, he fixes it, but there's no guarantee that it won't break in 7 days.
Okay. So, but do you give that guarantee?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's at least a 15-day guarantee.
Of the service that's being delivered?
Yeah. Meaning if it breaks, we'll come and fix it.
Oh. Okay.
So one of the biggest things for us also is that guarantee. Meaning one is these qualified service professionals, right? And background verified. That's one. Second is the guarantee, there's a full price transparency, unlike any other player today. So we will catalog the hell out of our services. Meaning if you are calling somebody, you actually know for the most part that what is the price I'm going to pay.
Okay.
That transparency is important because sometimes what happens is this guy comes to your house and then you're doing this back and forth and then he said, no, sorry, that price doesn't work for me. So you want to be price transparent. And the third piece is the guarantee on the job. We offer up to 10,000 rupees of insurance. Meaning if we goof up something, we can easily pay 10,000 bucks.
Okay. My last question is, are you planning to venture into the B2B space as well? The margin of ticket size is big there.
Yeah, so see, I can't say that I understand that completely in detail yet. So I think I want to form an opinion on that. It is attractive, but at this point I think we're going to focus on B2C. B2B as an option, if it helps me solve a few problems, because I think the DNA and the build-up and the makeup of that B2B entity would be very different from a B2C entity. So I would get a B2B, but I would keep that B2B focused on a B2B type mindset, because the B2B mindset is very different. The kind of people you deal with, the kind of labor workforce and all of that is very different.
Yeah.
It's much larger scale, much bigger scale and all of that, right?
Yeah.
So I think we'll have to form a deeper opinion on that.
And how 2016 is going to be in the home services space?
I think it's going to be great here, because I think the great meaning, because the no matter what happens in the market, all these VCs saying this, blah blah blah, funding drying up, whatever, right? But the customer problem doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It's not that magically some plumber will emerge from somewhere.
True.
So I think it's going to be great, because the problem is there. It's not that we are manufacturing the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is there, yeah. It's for us to go and tap into that problem, and we have to be efficient in terms of how we tap into that problem. That's it. I think it'll be great.
So thank you so much for speaking
Thanks.
to us.
Thank you.
Have a good